Aiken's picture, The Big Brothers Racing, is a fine example of how an artist uses implied lines in order to affect an emotion in his work. In this picture, you can see that all the lines are horizontal. Horizontal lines, as you know, are very calming lines, and this picture is just a series of calm lines. It denotes the emotion of racing, this type of racing, which is in boats that are called sculls. The boats are very close to the water, and the rowers are gliding through the water as they race. Aikens liked racing, and he did many, many pictures of sculling events. Géricault's painting, The Wrath of the Medusa, is a historical event. It actually happened. A French ship went down off the coast of Africa, and only 150 of the men survived. They built the raft from the wreckage of the ship. You can see how desperate they are to survive, as the diagonal lines of their bodies crisscross the picture plane. They are desperate. Of the 150 men that survived the wreck, only 15 survived to be rescued. It's a desperate event, and Géricault has painted it well, given it all the drama and theatrics of an event that was horrific. And he's put down for history that moment and that event for us to witness. And he uses implied lines in order to allow us to feel the urgency of the moment. Red, Blue, and Yellow, 1930, by Piet Mondrian, represents his mature work. He had a very strict formula for his paintings. He only used the primary colors red, blue, and yellow, and the most stable of lines, vertical and horizontal, adding to that the neutrals, black, white, and grays. He was a purist, and he wanted his work to be viewed by people of any culture through time. He wanted it to last. It was a non-objective piece. He wanted to stay away from any representation of nature and work solely with the elements of art. You might think that one could program this work into a computer, manipulate it a bit for variations, and come out with what Mondrian created. Not so. Not so. Mondrian worked very intuitively in order to get the most tension that he could get on his painting surface. We see his paintings all around us, in architecture, in fashion, in furniture. We see how others have adapted what he did in advertising. Piet Mondrian worked this way until he came to the United States prior to World War II. When he came here, he was fascinated with the music boogie woogie and started a series called Broadway Boogie Woogie. I have put a little image of that work in the right-hand corner of your screen. If you go to the left, you'll see a website. If you go to that website, you can hear the curator from MoMA talking about this Boogie Woogie series and how it developed by Mondrian. Improvisation 28, 1912 by Kandinsky is a work of pure abstraction, just as Mondrian's is, the difference being that Kandinsky is using organic shapes and free-flowing lines. Kandinsky believed that music was intimately related to art, and he wanted to convey this on his canvases. He wanted to evoke the sense of sound, with his imagery. He wanted the viewer to come and look and feel and hear what he had to give. He wasn't interested in the outer world. He was interested in the inner relationship between disciplines. Kandinsky was very spiritual, and yet this piece I don't think you would hear in a yoga studio when you were trying to zen out. No, I don't think so. I think this is a vibrant, dissident piece of work that has great energy and force, and he wants you to feel this. Kandinsky worked hard at what he believed was a spirituality in art. And he's left behind for us to see and to feel the noise, the sounds that art can indeed make. Les Demoiselles d'Avignon, 1907, by Pablo Picasso, is a pivotal piece of art that breaks away from the traditions of Western art. In this painting, you can see 5 female figures. They are seen in multiple points of view, and rather than being smooth transitional forms that we would think about as organic, these forms are broken into fractured planes. The figures take many vantage points. You can see on the far left a figure that looks almost like an Egyptian god. The face is in profile, but the eye is foot to show life is placed forward. Picasso also in this painting introduces the African mask. It's the first time that this has happened in the history of art. He was fascinated by the patterns of these masks and began to incorporate them into his work. This painting's picture plane is very flat. It's very dense. He treats the ground and the form the same way. You have a little space, but not very much. These are not pretty women. These are not like the odalisques or the goddesses that we've seen prior times in Western art. No, these are a lot tougher, and they're telling us of something that is to come, something that will be new and different. For years, Picasso did not show these paintings to anyone other than painters. They were so different. What do you think about them? Would you like to meet these ladies? Could you walk into this painting? And if you could, would you? That's a question.